Hello, me lovelies. Well, just us on this blistering, stormy day that I do a video on my thoughts about Scotty G and what's been happening, his relapsing and sneaking behind Paddy's back, going for his sweeties, his fix, sugar rush fix, if you know what I'm talking about when I mean sweeties. Look, I'm not one bit surprised this has happened. And anyone that knows anything about drug use, now I used to work with the National Probation Service with drug use and treatment and testing orders. And one thing you learn very quickly from meeting a variety of people, and each has different attitudes towards their addictions. Until the person themselves is ready to give up, nothing's going to make them give up. There is no magic pill. There's no magic formula. There's no wizard doctor with a wand that can wave that wand above their head and say, right, you're cured. You'll never have any addictions or desires to use drugs again. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't exist. And as for this term, Scotty being an experiment, look, there's been much, much, much more intelligent, highly educated people than Paddy have tried to work it out for over a century, and no one has got the magic pill yet to cure addiction. No one. So it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen at all. Now, at the time, I and others voiced concerns about this GoFundMe that was being set up. Look, give them a place to stay. I mean, a shed isn't ideal. But again, if that's all that's available, yeah, a shed. But what you've got to understand, Scotty has had money in the past. A hell of a lot more than he got from that GoFundMe. He inherited quite a respectable amount of money from his late mother's estate. And it just went on rubbish, basically. It went on his sweetie fix and buying stupid clothes and jewellery. That's what it went on. And so that when people were thinking, oh, we'll help him out, we'll give him... Why people always think money's the answer to everyone's solution, I don't know. But give him money so we can have heating, so we can have food. And you didn't need to, because people were actually given items of food and clothing and all sorts to him. So he didn't need the GoFundMe. But all that was doing was freeing up his benefits money. Now, whether he's getting PIP or DWP, I don't know. But his dole, he was getting that. Well, there's freed up income. If he doesn't have to pay out for food, and he doesn't have to pay out for heating, and he's not paying out for rent, lighting, whatever, there's free income for him. What do you think a seriously addicted drug user is going to do with that money? Doesn't take a genius to work that one out. So I'm not surprised that he has, and I am critical of Paddy being surprised and shocked. Shocked for what? It was a given it's going to happen. Look, drug users, when they go into recovery, I've never heard of one yet. Maybe there is one, but I've never heard of one that gave it up and never relapsed during the giving up drugs or any addiction. Smoking's an addiction. Alcohol. It's a long road ahead. You don't just give up and that's it. You're fine. It comes in stages, and the vast majority of people, as far as I know, if not all, relapse at some point. It happens. It would actually be extremely unusual if they didn't relapse, let's put it that way. But that's what Scotty's going through at the moment. Now, Paddy was scolding him like a 1970s headmaster. Honestly, people, when I was listening to him actually going on at Scotty. That's what, if you want to know what it was like in the 70s in schools with headmasters, that's what it was like. They used to really scold you like that. And most parents were like that as well. Most papas were like that when they tell you off. Now, he's treating Scotty basically like a child, it looks like, which isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes I think it's best to give someone it direct. Don't floss it. Don't coo around them. Don't don't do that. No, give them it straight. So I'm not criticising Paddy for doing that, but it's whether it would work with Scotty. And this is the thing, it won't, in my mind. That won't have any effect. Look, as he's being shouted at, and I'm talking about serious addicts here, the little chattering monkey in his head will be thinking when he's going to get his next fix. That's all it will be thinking about, his next fix. Now, the reason why I have put this saying up here about addicts being for life, not being just for Christmas, I'm not being funny when I say that. That's true. If you're going to help someone out, if you take sympathy on someone and think I'm going to help them, you don't see them as an experiment. You see them as someone organic, a human being that you're going to help on a long road ahead. That's what you do. So, because Scotty's relapse, he's going to be kicked out and all that, if Paddy's being serious about that, that's not helping him. That's not helping him at all. You have to be in it for the long run if you're genuinely concerned about someone. What I'd say is stop the nonsense with the GoFundMes. Stop it. People, stop donating to him. Let him buy his own clothes. Let him buy his own heating. I think that Paddy should charge him for food as well, if Paddy's giving him food. Because then he hasn't got a disposable income. He has to think again. He has to say, well, I had to go hungry and get me fix. You know, that's the reality of the situation. Because he did get he wasted a lot of money that he inherited from his mama's estate. You've got to bear that in mind. And also, I'm always dubious about why people give to charities, some people. I remember hearing a psychologist saying a long time ago, I wish I could remember who it was and quote him or her. And they said about this charity, and what it is when people give to charity or do philanthropic acts towards others, it's actually over 90% of the time to make them as the giver, the donator, feel good, not the person they're giving it to. It's all about them. So it's like, oh, aren't I good? Aren't I compassionate? Aren't I kind? Aren't I an empath? Oh, aren't I this? Because they're the ones giving and they want you to know that they're giving. And that's what you see on disgusting. You see in the chat or the comments, oh, good, oh, Scotty, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. It's saying, oh, are they actually genuinely concerned about Scotty? And why just Scotty? Look, there's how many people needing help are there in this country? How many? There'll be lots. But he's the one that they're all latching on. Where it would be better to start up a fund if you're going to that could help several people, not just one, several people, and help them that way. But was Paddy wrong to do what he did? No, because in the long shot, it might have worked. You've always got to give something a try. But I think his old school ways are out of date. And saying, right, you don't do this, now I'm going to throw you out. Unless he's genuinely going to throw him out, that's not going to work anyway. It's like saying to a child, oh, we all know this, don't we? When someone turns around to a kid that's acting up and says, you're not getting your sweeties if you keep acting up, the kid starts screaming more. And then just for peace, the parent gives the sweets over and says, now, you better be good next time or else. You've just told the kid, Actually act up some more and I'll give in to you. So if Scotty's getting told he's going to be kicked out the shed and he can go elsewhere, if that doesn't happen, like that child, that toddler, he's going to think, oh yeah, I'll just let it go in one ear and out the other. He's not going to kick me out. And also, Jimmy Newman, this is another specifically to Scotty, why it isn't ideal to have GoFundMes or think he's going to be cured overnight, is Jimmy Newman said that Scotty thinks he's a celebrity, which he does. He really does think he's a celebrity because he got views on YouTube. He doesn't realise why people were watching him. It was that circus sideshow effect. That's why people were watching him. Just to see this man totally off his face, babbling on. That's what people watching him, but he thinks he's a celebrity. And that was the reason why he's asking for new teeth. Celebrities need nice smiles, don't they? And that would make him fly. And I'm so glad he did that. I'm so glad he did that because that woke a lot of people up to this is empathy fraud. Now that sounds like a strong word. I don't think for 1 minute in Scotty's mind he's thinking, oh, I'll commit empathy fraud. He's not thinking that way. He's just thinking, well, people are giving me money. So if I want to get on, I want new teeth and that will stop me wanting the drugs if I have new teeth. Now, we all know that's nonsense, but in a strange way in his mind, he believes that himself. He believes that if he gets new teeth, he'll be cured. But that was a good thing that happened because it showed then, it woke people up and thought, oh, wait a minute. This person is just expecting to get loads and loads of money off people for it and haven't paid for them. He doesn't let him exist on the money he's got. That's what you need to do. Maybe help him out with the heating because, of course, Calagas, if that's what Paddy's using, I think it is, isn't he? I mean, I have a Calagas heater for emergencies and they're not cheap. I can assure you they're not cheap to run at all. And you wouldn't be able to run one of them on the dole, I can assure you. So I can understand that, but my view is if anyone wants to help someone like Scotty, you have to be in it for the long run. You have to be willing to stick with it until they get to a point where something just that magical thing clicks in their head and they want to get clean. But you've got to wait for that moment, and that moment could take months, years, decades. It may never come, that moment. It may never come. But if you're genuinely compassionate towards someone and want to help them out with their addiction, that's the baggage you take on board. That's the baggage you take on board. So I'll leave it at that, my lovelies. Bye-bye for now.